Boom, 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 boom.
Is that not the right one? It's not. Sorry, folks. Oh, I left that up there.
Welcome to the Roses Are Red podcast with your host, AC, Midnight Media, SamIAm.
From the Married Couple
Podcast. Yeah. I can't. I have a deep voice, and it's not that.
I know. And nothing. That is hard to achieve. That voice.
They put gravel in that baby's bottle. Rocks and shit.
Yeah. Well, welcome in, folks, to another Roses Are Red podcast. As you see, Mrs. Red Rose is not in tonight. She's had some things going on that is keeping her away, and I hope everything is fine with her. But AC and I have got it tonight. We're taking over for our first installment of our Killer Kinks and Cocktails series for the month of May. This is in honor of Masturbation Month.
It's gonna be May.
We are going to go through some,
Can you tell us more about that? You can't just say it's Masturbation Month and then gloss over it. Can you? How do we know that?
I looked it up.
Okay.
No, May is Masturbation Month. They have, dubbed it Masturbation Month. I could look that up.
No, I believe you.
But we thought, our last show that we all were on together, we kind of went down a rabbit hole of looking into strip clubs, and Dave had decided he found a couple of OnlyFans models that have committed some crimes, and we'll do those ones the week of his birthday. But we decided at that moment that May was going to be
it's gonna be May.
We're going to have a theme, like we did for October. So, we're going to have some kinky true crime in honor of Masturbation Month. It should be fun. We're still doing true crime. I mean, the one I found is pretty fucking yuck, but
I have a very popular one. Actually, very popular one that people might not remember. It's actually a sex crime.
Oh, okay.
It's very sexual in nature, but I don't think it's ever brought up that way.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, we each kind of found a story that we'd like to talk about this tonight. And we may, going forward, have a full night of one story, or do a couple that go along with each other, like when I Am Dave is on. But it should be a fun month, and we want everybody to kind of join in. And if you guys have a story that you'd like us to cover during Masturbation Month, let us know so we can do some research and tell you what our thoughts about it.
Much like our own sexual lives, we want you to join in.
Yeah, exactly. But how was your week, AC? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. I was off last week, so
You were.
I did miss you guys very much.
Yeah.
Sad did not have Rose on tonight, but
I know. I keep coming to this thing, and it's a carousel of chicks. Like, what's going on?
I know.
Get your shit together, especially for now. This is the most important month. This is the month we get to talk about.
This is the month.
We've been waiting all 11 months. We've been edging. We've been edging for 11 months to get to this, and suddenly, we're here.
Right.
We get to talk about it. And look, I even had to change my tagline. It said AC. Midnight Media, but then on the bottom it said cherry enthusiast. I was looking forward to to
Popping some cherries, huh?
for the first time. It always gets me off guard, and it's like, oh God! But this time I was like, you know what?
Yeah, this is the month to pop the cherries, right? I mean, this is cherry popping month.
Yeah. I like the black cherry. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You like the black cherry?
I like black cherries.
I like black cherries too.
Yeah.
Down with the swirl. So, all right. So a lot of murders are underlying, have some kind of sexual tension to it, is what I've noticed, right? So there's a lot of a lot of things we've already covered throughout the year. We've been on for about a year, and we've already covered a bunch of stuff. Like, for example, I know I keep bringing it up, but it's one of the most fascinating cases ever. Is Peter Dupas? Right?
That was incredibly fascinating.
It was incredibly fascinating. Incredibly fascinating because the dude had total sexual, like, mommy issues.
Oh yeah.
And he would cut off breasts, and he would make sure that the clitoris was like, like it was a mutilation kind of a thing. It was
very much so.
Just, you equated sex with pain. So a lot of trauma comes from that. Either mommy issues, or they were, somehow molested when they were kids. And we've covered a whole lot of stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, even the Twin Flames cult was
best episode ever.
That was insane. Especially, I mean, it's still insane how they're expecting some of their members to transition, even though they came into it not thinking that. You're muted, by the way. But for me, I was like, what? That's, how, and truly it's a cult if they're going, well, okay, if you tell me to, you know what I mean?
And then I guess I'll go ahead and transition.
All right, exactly. They didn't have enough men, so they have to, and they, their whole core is you're either you have a masculine flame or a feminine flame, and if they don't have enough men in there, they've got to create them somehow. So
just like the age-old proverb says, you don't have enough men, make some.
Right.
Just not enough men. Well then, somebody's got to be the man.
Right. I mean,
tonight you're the lady. Well, as long as we're not procreating, here we are.
Right. I know. I don't get it. Yeah, we have done a lot of our stories are sexual in nature, but we are going to highlight some this month, so that's going to be really fun.
We are going to have.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I just found a page here that's going to blow everyone's mind. I think I'm just going to work off this page for the whole month.
Okay.
You're a child of the. No, we're not going to go into this, but I'm just going to ask you. I want you to go first with your story, but
okay.
Do you know who Gary Glitter is?
I should though.
So we'll talk about him today because I don't. Unless you have a long story, but like Gary Glitter is, he did sex stuff, butt stuff.
Okay.
Not good, but he's also like a glam, like a rocker.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll look in. I just wanted to know because we're children of that era.
Oh yeah.
70s, and I figured we'd know. But yeah, glam rock.
I mean, we barely made the 70s. Let's be real. You had a whole year in it. I had a month.
That's right. I had a whole year in it. I lived disco. I lived it.
You're a wee baby.
Yeah. Do you remember? It was the first thing I heard when I came out. Was ABBA and Do you remember?
I was at the thrift store today, and they were playing ABBA, and I'm like, I love ABBA.
Which one?
Oh shoot, I can't remember now. It's been in my head all stinking day, and now I can't remember because I was put on the spot. Trooper, it was actually that. It was that one. That was the one. I was like, oh my god, I love this song. I started liking ABBA more when Mamma Mia came out, but
that's what I keep hearing.
Yeah, it's a good musical. At any rate,
if you say, I'll take your word.
We digress. I like musicals; they're fun.
So I heard that you had a vagina ripping story. Go for it.
Well, I do have a story. So I was kind of looking. I don't know, for some reason I wasn't able, or initially when I started looking today, to put what I wanted Google to give me, right? Because I'm like, I have all these thoughts and I know there's these things. But as I was looking at it, I was kind of perusing through past snapped episodes and things like that.
That's a good one, right? Snapped.
Yeah, and this one kind of popped up. It wasn't it may have been on a Snapped episode, but I don't think it was. So this is the story of Bob and Farah Fratta. This happened back in the 90s. These two met back in 1982. They both worked for American Airlines. Farah had come over from she was from the UK, so she was British, and but her family had moved around a lot. And over in the UK, she moved over here when she was 19. She always wanted to go into the travel industry, so she got this job at American Airlines, and Bob was working there too. And he was a playboy, right? She was very reserved and quiet, but something about him caught her eye. And she decided to, as he put it, she started to pursue him. And because that he was usually doing the pursuing, he was usually the predator in a way. He was smitten by her. He was very intrigued. A year later, they get married. And everything seems to be fine. They have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. But 9 years later, Farah goes, "That's it. I need a divorce. I'm out." A few months prior to her asking for a divorce, she had thought he was cheating on her. And when confronted with it, he goes, "No, I'm not cheating, but I'd like an open marriage."
Nuh-uh.
No, he goes, "I'm not cheating, but I'd like an open marriage."
Okay.
And because of her upbringing, and she decided to say, "Well, okay," because
okay, all right.
Well, divorce wasn't in her. Her family was very against divorce. She didn't really want an open marriage, but she thought, I would rather, not disgrace my family by divorcing this man.
Right. So polyamory is completely acceptable,
I guess. Well, if you
think about it,
she probably did not tell her family that. Well, a divorce is very public, and people know.
Is it for your family or for God?
It was for her family that didn't like it. I don't know.
Because God.
Probably, but in her mind, she thought, I'll try to stay together for the kids.
Sure.
Well,
number one demise, right? Number one, like, worst sentence you could ever.
I know.
Let's stay together for the kids.
Because honestly, a lot of times it's better if you don't, because it's a lot of times better if you don't. But within
I told my parents not to. I told them. I was like, I was 12. I was like,
don't stay.
If it's for me, move on.
Yeah. No, and I get that, and so. From that time where she was like, I think you're cheating, to the time she finally says, we need to divorce, she had realized that, in her own words, he was a sexual deviant. He was a masochist.
Oh.
So he wanted her to do things like defecate on him or in his mouth.
Scat play.
Yes. He wanted her to choke him while he masturbated, which, whatever.
That's not bad.
But I mean, in the early 90s, really what probably wasn't all that big. It was probably a bigger deal than it is now.
Choke me, daddy. Choke me,
he also wanted to be punched and all those types of things. So
like a heel in his balls.
Yeah. He was that sort of a person. Yeah. So when they did divorce, she went for full custody. And listed his sexual deviance as a cause for her to have full custody of the children.
He's a deviant
because she didn't feel that he would watch after the kids the way he should. She thought he'd always be seeking out.
Right, he's preoccupied with finding the next ball torture.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So he honestly, he's like, I don't want a divorce. I don't want to not be with you. I'm going to fight for the custody of the kids. And he wanted their divorce trial to go to a jury trial. So things go along, up until, they're getting the trial set up. She goes to the lawyer, all the things, but he still gets visitation with the kids.
Of course.
So about court date, for some reason, or somebody breaks into her home and uses a stun gun on her and then just leaves. But prior, she thought it could be maybe him trying to get her to come, or maybe he set it up to get her to come back. You know, you need me because, you know, I can protect you. She also said he was stalking her at some points. And then we come to November 9th of 1994. The fateful day. She ended up, her neighbors actually heard 2 gunshots. She had come home from the grocery store, was getting out of the garage, was up, and they hear 2 gunshots, and then they see a man, and they called the cops, and they say, we see a black man in the driveway. It looks like he has the gun between his knees, like he was trying to do something else with his hands. And then all of a sudden, a silver car pulls up. The man hops in, and they drive away. Cops and ambulance comes. Her parents come over. Her dad had said they had said it was just a head wound, as if that's
oh, it's just a head wound. This is fleshy head wound.
She thought she was going to be fine. They get her to the hospital, and she ends up passing away at the hospital.
Not the tumor.
As they're, you know, securing the scene and all of it, Bob, her husband, estranged husband, pulls up with the kids. He had taken the kids to catechism class,
of course,
and hung out at the church. So technically, the police said that he had an airtight alibi. He was, you know, the church said he was there. All the things but they also looked at him and said, "Listen,
believe the church.
You are the husband. You guys are going through a divorce. We need you to come down and make a statement."
What do we learn in this business?
It's always the husband.
Always the husband.
It is always the husband. So they take him down, and he, you know, he was forthcoming, but they also felt he was holding something back, and he seemed smug, like he knew something that they didn't, or he thought he was smarter than they were. Right.
Well, as usual.
Right. So
except for that one case that we did where the guy was actually,
I know, where he was like, "I promise you it's not me." And they were like, "Yeah, we're going to
whatever, buddy."
Yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, sorry, it wasn't you."
I guess it wasn't you. Fine. I guess you're that one guy.
Right. So they have to let him go. They have nothing to hold him on because they technically, again, airtight. I mean, the kids were with him. They said, "I've been with Dad all night." They go on. So as they start kind of digging into things, they find out that, well, first off, they do search his car, and they find $1,000 in cash in the glove box. And mind you, it's the 90s, so they found his address book.
Of course, it's a Rolodex. It's like a
black book. Yes, yeah. I'm sure he had one.
Kill wife Wednesday. You know.
Well, they started calling his friends or the people in his address book, and everyone they contacted from the gym that he went to. He's big, worked out all the time.
Oh, of course,
you know, good looking guy. But again, as I was watching, I'm like, oh, that motherfucker. Hey, it was in the eyes. Very narcissistic.
Would you like to shut up? Would you like to shut up my chest?
Right, exactly. But all of the people that they were contacting had mentioned that he had going, throughout the last few years, when he speaks with them, go, man, I wonder if I could hire do you know anybody I could hire I would talk to hire somebody to kill my wife? Yeah.
Just like that?
Yeah. Flippantly talking to them. Still,
what a Dumas.
Right. Still not enough to hold him or even pull him in. It's just they can't prove anything. But he had mentioned it, in conversations he had with friends from the gym.
What year is it?
90. Well, between 92 or she was passed in 94. So 1994 is when this happened.
Okay. So just he didn't put it into Prodigy.
No. I mean, there was the internet at that point, but not everybody was using it. Right. Exactly.
How do I kill my wife? You got mail.
So no, he wanted to hire a hitman, from what everybody was saying.
Of course, it's classic.
Right. As they're doing more discovery, they find out that he used the phone at the church where on that night when he was there for catechism class. The phone records show that he paged This tells you where it was.
411-143.
He paged a woman named Mary Gipp, and then also called her cell phone. And so they questioned Mary Gipp, and she goes, I don't know, that is my phone number, and my pager number, but I don't recall using it that night. She played dumb.
And I guess there weren't, the technology didn't exist where they can actually triangulate the thing and ping the tower.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They're working on clear beepers. I had a clear beeper. What color was yours?
Mine was clear and turquoise.
My girl.
I had a turquoise one.
Yeah, right,
and my parents, I was like, I want a beeper so bad. And I didn't get one until I was like 18. And they're like, only drug dealers have beepers. So I'm like, shut up. No. Drug dealers and doctors.
But I need drugs.
Well, I mean, I did. But
right, I did. That's what I need the fucking
But that's
for.
not what I was there. Not why I had one. They were just fun.
How will I know where to show up for sex and drugs?
Exactly. So it comes to they keep going, and they kind of keep running into these dead ends. Finally, they had enough because they had her phone number, and they knew he called her from that phone that night.
Yeah.
They got a grand jury. She went in front of a grand jury and ended up saying, okay, here's what happened. Bob Frada had talked to my boyfriend, Joe. Joe's last name is Pristash. My boyfriend, Joe Pristash, they go to the same gym together. He had asked Joe if he knew anybody who would be a hitman for his wife, Farah.
I'll do it.
And Joe goes, I sure do. We've got a next door neighbor, a kid from Louisiana who's living here in Texas now. This is all happening near Houston, Texas, by the way.
I know a kid next door.
Yeah, and he had a criminal record as far as like theft, petty theft and things, but nothing like murder. And so Joe goes, hey, sorry, I know his last name is Guidry.
That's okay.
Howard. Hey, Howard Guidry. Hello, Howard Guidry. I have a proposition for you. Would you kill Bob's wife for us? We'll give you $1,000.
Say no more.
Actually, Howard goes, I say no more. For $1,000, I will.
Which I have in the car right now.
Right, which Bob had in the car. So with that testimony and her working with the detectives, they go and arrest Howard.
Of course.
Howard goes, yep, that was me. Totally did it. And then he reenacted on tape. They videoed him reenacting what had happened. So she opened the garage. He shot her in the head. And then as he was walking away to go to the car, because he had had Mary's cell phone, and he had paged or called Joe on a phone at the on a payphone. This tells you that this was the 90s, on a payphone in at a grocery store that's close.
The fuck is a payphone?
I know. And he goes, I was waiting. I had called and said, come get me. But he goes, I saw she wasn't dead, so I closed my eyes and I shot her again in the head. Because
double tap.
He had to.
Yep.
He wanted to make sure she was dead. And then Joe pulls up. I get in his car and we drive away.
Dead man tell no tales.
So Howard's now, going down for murder.
Of course.
So they bring Joe in and say, hey
Joe.
Hey, Joe, this is what we heard happened. He goes, nope, none of it happened. But as they drive him back to his car, because technically they can't hold him on anything yet. They don't have.
He's not charged.
Yes. He's not charged yet. So they drive him back to his car where they picked him up. And he tells the detective, everything you were saying, that's how it went down. Bob said he'd give me a Jeep. And then Bob said we'd pay Howard $1,000 for, Joe got a Jeep for setting everything up, and Howard got $1,000. Now I think Howard
love Jeeps. I'll do it for a Jeep.
Right. I think Howard got drew the short end of the stick. I mean, he was the one actually doing the deed. And he goes, are you going to arrest me? He goes, well, the detective said, we're going to be coming for you. Just be waiting for us. Don't leave town, do all the things. 5 days later, they arrest Joe. So now they have Joe, they have Howard, but they have to connect, even though they have the cash, they have, the phone records, they kind of have to connect. Well, they found that Bob had bought the gun, and then gave it to Howard. So they now arrest Bob too.
Paper trails, actual paper trails from the early 90s, guys.
Yes.
That's the way people got fucking caught. Like
right.
Today, it's like you can't triangulate your cell phone on a cell phone tower. You can think about everything. And back in the day, they're like, yep, I'll buy the gun.
Exactly. So they arrest Bob between the time that while all of this is happening. Before he gets arrested, Bob goes, once they get Howard, he goes on and does a news conference. It wasn't me. But anytime he was on the news, he was very, I don't know, there was no emotion. He was just very, one of the interviews, he even winked at the camera. Like, it's not me, one of those things.
It's gonna be me.
And so Farrah's parents actually filed for custody of the kids and did get that, even though before they had even arrested Bob. Bob goes to trial. All of them go to trial. But they all get. Initially, they got Bob on just hiring a hitman. Hiring murder for hire. But then they went, because of everything and him buying the gun. Hello, my love.
I'm also lovely.
Yes.
I thought that was Tiff for a second.
I know. I think that's why you did it. But
hello,
they moved it from murder for hire to capital murder for Bob too.
Good.
So they all have because it's Texas, could get murder with the death penalty, life with the death penalty.
Well, it's definitely Texas. They'll execute a retard.
They will. They absolutely will. So at any rate, everything goes through trial. One of the things in the trial, Howard and Joe changed their tune and they pled not guilty, even though they both confessed. They each would not go, their lawyers advised, do not testify in Bob's trial because it looks bad on you. If you're pleading not guilty, you can't go and say, yeah, he did it. Right. So they allowed one of the judge in the first trial for Bob allowed the detective to recount what Joe had told him. Like, yeah, this all happened. And that's, and the defense tried to get a mistrial or try to have it ruled out because it's hearsay. But that judge allowed it. He allowed a couple of testimonies that were hearsay. The other one was from Mary because she was around, and he allowed that, which honestly, she was the one who broke the case because she was like, yeah, this is what happened. They used my phone. I was around when they were making plans to kill Farrah.
Getting beeped about it. 187 murder, death, kill.
Needless to say, they did all. They were found guilty and were given the death penalty.
I hope so.
Now they've tried to appeal, and both Howard and Bob got retrials. Both were found guilty again with the death penalty.
Yeah, double death penalty.
And I don't know. And I can report that on January 10th of 2023, Bob was put to death by lethal injection.
2023?
Uh-huh.
So we bought him 3 squares for
almost 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Guidry, though, he actually tried to escape. Where did that go? Yeah, he tried to escape.
That shows gumption.
I thought so. He tried to escape, and also once he was brought back, he ended up he and another death row prisoner held a female guard at her against her will, and so I mean. But as of 2024, both Guidry and Price Stash.
I'm sorry, you said that they held a guard against their will?
Yeah, they. Where did that go? Hold on, I read it.
What?
Bear with me here.
Listen here, see, we're gonna get out of this place.
So, there it is. Post-trial developments between 1998 and 2000. In November of 1998, Guidry, which was the shooter, and 5 other death row prisoners attempted to escape from prison, but the attempt failed. Now, in February of 2000, Guidry and another death row prisoner held a female correctional officer hostage to protest against the poor living conditions for death row inmates.
Did they touch your boobies?
I don't know. I'm giving you all the information that I have. So the hostage situation was resolved peacefully through negotiations between the inmates and anti-death penalty activists. It was a 13-hour standoff, though.
I can understand that. Yeah, there are death penalty advocates, which I found. Well, I found those people because I wanted to talk about them. It's funny because I found a whole Telegram channel about death penalty activists saying that we're just too soft on people. I'm trying to find the other side so I can present both cases, but that's a really intricate thing.
It's a hot button issue.
It's a hot button issue, and people are fired up on that side because they're like, look at this, they're enumerating a million things. Like, how much more do you need?
It's funny or interesting. And we don't talk a whole lot of politics, but let me tell you, things that I've seen is a lot of pro-lifers, as far as anti-abortion folks, are very pro death penalty.
Yeah. You can't. We killed him. You don't kill him.
Right.
We decide. Or he goes to a war.
Right.
He's some kind of a neocon war, or some kind of a military industrial complex spreadsheet that you find yourself on, or your children. It's never their children,
right?
But it's our children, and then they go to, it's always the poor. You ever notice that? Mm-hmm. Why do they always send the poor? Why do they always send the poor? Why do they always send the poor? But yeah, they're going to be caught up in this net, this like dragnet of like, well, you got to go now. They say that there's no draft, but there'll be a draft like that, like
right,
if they need it. So
another thing about this case is after Bob was found guilty, and and I think before his retrial, or maybe it was after his retrial, he had made a website and complaining about the U.S. Political system, and he said it should be a monarchy and that he should be the king.
So he was just right. He was just
a fucking narcissistic piece of shit.
And I should be the king, and I will have a harem of 8 women all the time.
My thoughts on this, or a question to you, since this is what we do. If this case was, say, now, and I think now we're a bit more, I don't know, sexually progressive, and when we try not to kink shame and do all the things. Right. Do you think that in the divorce proceedings, or even trying to get custody of a child, that would be a big a big contention? Or do you think
choking or scat?
I think let's just take all of it.
You can't just put that on the same level.
Okay, so we'll go from least to worst, you know what I mean? So let's say choking first. I don't think that would be punching, and
punching is different because it leaves marks, and that's up for interpretation of others. So if you for some reason can't explain why you have those marks, I'm automatically going to assume you're a battered wife, and you don't want that, right? So
but if he wanted himself to be punched, well, you know what I mean?
True. And then we get into gender bias, where,
right,
why do you have that? You probably got into a fight with a guy that wasn't your wife. What'd you do? Right. So that's dicey.
Okay. What about the defecation?
The defecation, I would have a problem with sanitary things, right? Like if you are, I'm going to do this really clinically. Mm-hmm. If this is your kink, you need to, and if I was a judge nowadays, I would be like, how do you do it? Take me through the protocol, as disgusting as it is.
Right.
Take me through the protocol, because I need to know that the children are safe. And if not, I have to call Child Protective Services if you're defecating everywhere and you don't put down the blue tarp tonight, and you just like happen to, lay a steamy right there, or whatever. Like, what do you do with that? Like, how does it, let's play this out. Where does that go later? Do you rub it in? Like, do you make dinner afterwards? Like, what's the deal?
Right. I mean, okay, say everything is clinical, or, not clinical, but you know what I mean? Everything is sanitary. in a way.
The sanitary part's out of it.
Right. Let's just say it's just, what you do behind closed doors. Should that come into play on whether you have a right to see your children or not?
It will. It would a little bit. It would a little bit, because somebody would take, like, not that I would shame it. What I'm saying is that not everybody's as open-minded, and someone would, along the line of that system that you have to go through, somebody's going to be like, what are you talking about? And then, like, they would make it a thing. And, people would be like, hey, you can't have shitting on people for sex and then have, kids in the house. And I could see both sides. But if you prove that everything's on the up and up, like, I can't tell you what to do in your bedroom. That's like part of America's thing. Right.
Well, I mean, right. I mean, if you do it, as long as, I guess for me, as long as it wasn't, there wasn't a PDF file,
PDF file, mutilation,
right, or anything involving the children, as long as it is only what you do behind closed doors. I don't see
sanitary,
that.
Behind closed doors, right?
Yeah, but in '94, it was a huge contention. I mean
Biggie Smalls was alive. It was a different time.
It was. I guess that part of it, that's what drew me into it. Like, would this be a thing today? Would it be something that, I can understand it. It would be grounds for a wife who didn't know these things. You like these things, and then you spring them on her and go, hey, guess what? Now I want you to defecate on me. She could go, then she can go, hey, I don't want to be around for that. That is not my thing. However, she could divorce him over that.
Sure.
But
that's her prerogative to do that.
That's her prerogative, but I don't think it's a way or reason to keep the children away.
She's already set precedent that she can have the children and that.
Right.
She hasn't listed that specifically as the thing that she wants to get a divorce for.
That was one of the biggest things. I mean, was his sexual deviance was one of the things that
the broad sexual
she could not. Yeah, she could not look past it.
Well, yeah,
especially the scat play.
If I asked you to give me a glass bottom boat every night, would you do it? Would you give Dave a glass bottom boat every night?
Probably not.
For those who don't know what a glass bottom boat is, that's when you line your mouth with saran wrap and somebody shits in it.
Yeah, I know. And that's kind of what he wanted.
I know you know.
Yeah. I know. That's actually one of the things that they had mentioned. It was not just, it was that. Right. And it was not even with the saran wrap. He wanted to ingest.
Well, see, that in itself cannot be sanitary. So if you walked me through that and I was the judge, I was like, whoa, you can't just eat shit, homie. Right? Like, you can, but it can't be a point of contention for your wife to then,
right.
Because then we're going to have to.
But again, how does that, does that affect the kids? His wife doesn't need to be around, and
how are the kids involved in that? Right? Like, the house has to smell like shit, period.
One would think. One would think. I just, not something I would ever do, or if somebody came to me and be like, this is the way I get off, I'd have to go, I don't think our kinks align here. You know what I mean? I don't think we align sexually this way.
I don't think you can, right? So let's hi May, how you doing? May says, why do you always send the poor? Because basically, and unfortunately, it's not. This is the way I look at it. The poor people are multiples. People forget that they have lives as well, and they just think nothing of it. And or there are poor people that don't have any family and don't have any roof over their head, and that's the way. Yeah, that's right. And that's the way it works. They get 3 squares, and they get to go to boot camp, and they're my daddy and my daddy's daddy and my daddy's daddy. Was that, and it's a way to pay for college. If you go to college, it's a pay, GI Bill, the whole thing. Yeah, of course, they dangle the carrot, no question. Right. But now that people are a little bit more awake as to why we go to war, now it's going to be a lot harder to staff that. Because, I agree. How many people are going to go to war for Israel? It's just not a thing. You know what I mean? It's right. Like, wherever side you're on, the other side is not going to go.
Right.
Because now they understand, like, what, to continue a genocide? What, do you want me to kill these people now?
Right.
After you stomped them to the ground, it looks like bedrock over there. Now you want me to fucking build what? I'm going to help you build a skyscraper. and it's gonna be Miami Beach in Gaza. Like like it's a bad taste in people's mouth. So
it absolutely is.
So and whatever side, like maybe you're on that side, but still, your kids have to go to war, period. And it could be a glory thing, but how much glory are you gonna get from that? How much glory did you get from guarding poppy fields in Afghanistan? You know what I mean? Not too much. So,
or how many of the soldiers came back from Vietnam and nobody supported them because they didn't support the war, even though they went and put their lives on the line.
But that's happened every time. Iraq in 2003, nobody.
That's true.
Yeah, dissidents of Iraq, and people are like, "Oh, you don't fucking learn about the fucking 9/11." It's like, of course we do, but are you sure it's Iraq?
Right.
I don't think it is. And then Afghanistan, I don't think that is either. We knee jerked into it, and again,
right. We shouldn't. I believe we shouldn't tell the troops that were over there, or be bad to them. Though
we killed we killed 1 million Iraqis. Like, we killed a lot of people, and I mean, every one of us is like a big deal, of course. But like, we would kill a plurality of these people, and it's like whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that was my story for tonight. Do you have any other thoughts on it?
I mean, the main thoughts is that you're right. It would have flown a lot differently today.
I mean, I still think he would have probably killed her, but
maybe. But the beeper thing, that would there would have been maybe like a paper trail on the gun. They seem pretty simple, like doing receipts and shit, and like actually having a paper trail. These aren't professional murderers and shit.
No, I mean, the Guidry was a 18-year-old kid from Louisiana who said, exactly. Sure, I'll take the $1,000. I'll take that $1,000 to shoot somebody in the head. I mean, what the fuck?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So, I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a hell of a case. The shit really gave it a textural,
right. I mean,
a layer of texture there that I wasn't expecting. I'm going to, like, as promised, I'm going to bring something that I promise everyone here has heard of. Everyone here has heard of it. But we don't talk about the sexual part that often.
Okay.
And I think you're going to know who this is because, let's see. Let's go here, and then we'll share that. And then I think everybody knows who this is.
Yes. Actually, I was asked about this tonight when I was telling how of our May series, and I was like, we probably will go down that road.
Well, I'll tell you why, because let's do this. There we go.
There we go.
Bigger. So my screen is vertical here, so it's like
I get you.
So Jeffrey Dahmer, for those who aren't in visual world, Jeffrey Dahmer had a huge component of his issues were sexual, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's ugly. To be reminded of such heinous shit is pretty crazy. And remember, we've romanticized this guy a little bit because now we call those Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've made what was it, Zac Efron that played him, and they've had, or no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't him. It was the other kid from American Horror Story.
Ryan,
but they've had.
He's a great actor. Ryan.
I know.
Yeah.
Regardless, they've romanticized him in that they put, and everybody thought he was a good-looking kid, good-looking guy, unassuming. I mean, for back then,
for back then, when you had to have the wave mandatory and the big old collar.
I mean, in that respect, I mean, everybody thought he was, kind of unassuming, kind of like a boy next door type of the vibe that people got off of him. They didn't really get that ick feeling from him. You know what I mean? And I think that's why he was so prolific in doing what he did. So
that you're right. It's the cover story. Like, if you don't look the part, nobody's gonna, you're not exactly tearing up the neighborhood. You're not bringing heat upon yourself, and you're smart. That's the difference between the guys that you just talked about right now.
Absolutely.
This guy is smart, like thought out. Like this is Dexter compared to like a bunch of petty thugs.
Absolutely is.
Right. So this is gonna hurt. So Jeffrey Dahmer, is an American serial killer. He's a sex offender. He was born in 1960, May 21. Between the years of 78 and 91.
Oh, I didn't realize Dave is Dave shared a birthday with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Is that right?
Yeah, Dave's 8 years younger, but
oh my God. Does he have glasses like that?
No.
Has he ever exuded? Okay.
No.
Well, let's see. Let's take a deep dive and see if anything fits with what Dave wants. So between 78 and 91, Dahmer murdered 17 males. He was a homosexual, right? Mm-hmm. And he engaged in grapes, dismemberment. This is really what set him apart, right? What set him apart was the dismemberment.
The necrophilia.
Necrophilia was a huge thing, and the cannibalism were all parts of his modus operandi. So he had a diverse portfolio of different things that he can do.
He had a lot of eclectic tastes. Yes,
that's correct. So by most accounts, Dahmer had a normal childhood. However, he became withdrawn and uncommunicative as he got older. He began showing little to no interest in hobbies or social interaction as he entered adolescence. He, turning instead to examining animal carcasses. So that's now we kind of use that as like we see like a kid fucking up a cat or like a rat, and you're like, oh boy. Yep. This guy's already exuding. Somebody get him a thing.
You've said, and that looks similar to my high school picture.
It does, right? It does. Dave. Also, David Koresh.
Oh yeah, very much so.
David's Koreshi. He's a little Koreshi.
Very much. Yeah.
So, due to his parents' unfolding divorce that summer of 78, Jeffrey was left in the family home alone, and he seized the opportunity to act on the dark thoughts that he'd been thinking about in his mind. So he picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks, and he offered to take him back to his father's house to drink beer, because that was the time that you used to meet people out in the street, and you're like, hey, you drink beer?
Right.
You want to come back to the house, drink some beer? And of course he said yes. He's like, I ain't doing nothing, and you're not going to kill me, right? Mm-hmm. So when he decided to leave after the beer drinking, Dahmer hit him in the back of the head with a 10-pound dumbbell. And then Dahmer, he dissected, dissolved, and pulverized and scattered the now imperceptible remains throughout the backyard. And later on, he admitted to killing him simply because he just wanted Hicks to stay. He didn't want him to go. He's like,
if I can't have you, nobody can.
Yeah, if I can't have you, no one will, bitch. And
just wanted to see how it felt.
Yeah. Why'd you kill a man? Just to watch him die.
Right.
That's a reason.
It is.
So 9 years would pass before he killed again. So it wasn't like an urge like Dexter. Like Dexter was almost on a timer. He's like, I gotta, and it's right. Like killing him. This guy waited 9 years. Like he was chilling, and he dissolved. Notice how he did this. He dissolved and pulverized a man, and he scattered him about his backyard.
Right. His very first non-planned murder. You know what I mean?
Very non-planned. But there you go. That's what happens when you become withdrawn. Apparently that happens. So Dahmer attended college that fall, but then dropped out because of his alcoholism. The guy liked to party. After his father forced him to enlist in the army, where he served as a combat medic in Germany from 1979 to 81, the best of disco, and the death of it. You were in Germany for the death of disco? However, he never kicked the habit and was discharged that spring for being an alkie, like Dave. And moving back to his home in Ohio, after his drinking continued to cause problems, his father sent him to live with his grandmother in West Allis, Wisconsin. I hope I said that right. In 1985, he was frequenting gay bathhouses where he would drug men and grape them as they lay unconscious. So he'd be like, "Hey, you like
Bill Cosby them only before Bill Cosby."
Yeah, that's where do you think he goes? He's like,
right.
I had the drugs inside the Jello pudding. And he goes, so he was arrested twice for these incidents, and his exposure in 82 and 85, he only faced probation and none of the charges for the grapes. Stephen Tuomi was the second victim, right? After the 9-year hiatus, he killed in September of 87. Dahmer picked him up at a bar and took him to a hotel room. He's like, hey, want to bang? And he's like, fuck yeah. And he woke up the next morning and Tuomi's beaten dead body was there. And later he stated that he had no memory of actually murdering Tuomi, implying that he had committed the crime on some sort of a blacked out impulse. So, right. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Everybody did, right? And yeah. The killing occurred sporadically after Tuomi with 2 victims, 88 and 89, and number 4 in 1990. He continued to lure unsuspecting men from bars, soliciting prostitutes, male prostitutes, of course, whom he then drugged and raped and strangled, which I'd like to know more about. I never saw the documentary, so I don't know. Like,
I haven't either. Yeah.
I don't know how big he was as to, like, you know, he obviously drugged people, but, you know, you have to have a certain amount. Even drugged people need to, you know, be moved and stuff. So I wonder how strong he was in the upper body. Dahmer also began carrying out a particularly disturbing acts with corpses, continuing to use the bodies for intercourse, taking photographs of the dismembered process, preserving with scientific precision his victims' skulls and genitals for display. So not only would he have them in life, he would have them in death, and then he want to preserve like a picture. Like, hey, take a picture, it'll last longer, you know? And he was like, I'll just put his balls in formaldehyde.
And even the last part of that, and even retaining parts for consumption.
That's thank you.
Which parts did he consume?
Eat a dick. Okay. Eat a bag of dicks. How? Like, is it like a bag? Like, is it like a bunch of like worms and like a, you know, like a big like
right. Yeah, I don't know.
Are they all sticking out like baguettes?
Or did he hang them like sausages?
Do you suck them individually?
So
necrophilia. He totally did the carcasses, and that was bad form. During this period, Dahmer was arrested for an incident at his job at the Ambrosia Chocolate Factory. The Ambrosia Chocolate Factory. Can you imagine? It's fucking Willy Wonka, and he's fucking out there graping. And
right.
Put him in the chocolate river, Charlie. So he drugged and sexually fondled a 13-year-old boy. This is where it gets darker. This was given a sentence of 5 years probation, which is incredible. 1 year work release camp, and he was required to register as a sex offender. He sexually fondled a 13-year-old boy. He got 5 years probation and 1 year of work release. A good question would be like, what would be the thing now?
Right.
I'm not entirely sure. If you're if you're that guy, sweetheart deal. You get to ride a bike to work every day, go back to prison, go to sleep.
Right.
You're chilling. Sweetheart deal. Thanks, Alex DaCosta. So there, despite regular appointments with his probation officer, he would remain free to commit 4 murders while he was on probation that year because he was stressed.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
did you realize that it went 9 years and then it was a lot?
Right.
Right. It was a lot more. It was like term.
It became okay. Right.
He termed out. Yeah, you know, like.
Well,
like,
I mean, I feel like the first one happened as happenstance. He was like, "Oh, I just didn't want." It was more of a rage type of a murder, right? Like I don't want you to leave. And then he understood now his proclivities, and he goes, "Oh, I like doing this, and I've been getting away with it. This one thing got me." But then he was locked up for 5 years and had the probation. And once he was out, much like Dupas, he was like, "I gotta fucking do it. I gotta do it. I've been good for so long."
But he was work release 1 year, but the rest of it was 5 years probation. So
the 1 year. Regardless, he had once he was on probation. Then he was. I've been pent up too long.
Yeah,
pent up too long.
Too long. Too long. So Dahmer began killing a person a week in 1991. So we went from 9-year hiatus to like, oh my God, what a mistake. I didn't want you to leave, to like eating balls and preserving them and necrophilia. And then now he's progressing with the snowball effect to one person a week.
One could liken it to like when you start drug use, right? So you start off as, I've tried it. It's fun. I'll do it maybe socially when I go out with my friends. And then you become a weekend warrior, you know what I mean? And then that weekend goes into, Monday and Tuesday. And then now it's all the time.
Sunday night, you're like, come on, baby.
Yeah.
I got to work in 1 hour, but I get a bag.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, it was his drug, it seems.
It was his drug.
Yeah.
So, he became infatuated with the idea that he could turn his victims to zombies. So he had a zombie fetish, which is never to be so, okay. To act as youthful and submissive sexual partners. So he'd want just like childlike zombies, pretty much lobotomized,
right.
Youthful, gay, submissive sexual partners. He, like a bunch of cucks, just like zombie cucks. Zombie cucks. That's the name of my next band. Don't take that. So soon, neighbors began to complain about the strange noises and awful smells.
Well, go back, because you kind of missed his technique.
Oh, I was going to come back.
Okay, come back to that, please. That's interesting to me.
I was setting that up. Why the smells were happening? People used to. His neighbors were like, "What are these strange smells? The strange smells, ladies and gentlemen." Okay, is that to get this zombie effect that he wanted? So his techniques, such as drilling holes into their skulls, his victims, the injecting of the hydrochloric acid and boiling water into their brains. He's experimenting. Yeah. So when the neighbors finally got that smell coming out of Dahmer's apartment, on one occasion, a lobotomized victim. Oh, I see. I didn't even. I just used that on my own. I didn't even read that. So the lobotomized victim left unattended. So he was brains left unattended. He even made it out to the street to ask several bystanders for help. Can you please help me? I'm lobotomized. I'm in this guy's fucking house. He's taken my brain. He's the zombie. When Dahmer returned, however, he successfully convinced the police officer that the irrational young man was just simply extremely intoxicated. Like, he's my boyfriend. He's extremely, you know how us gays are.
Right. And they probably were like, yeah, we get it.
I get it, gay boy. Just put that back.
Yeah, don't put that dick near me.
Just take that dick and put it on. I don't care what you do, fat boy. Just take him upstairs. And the officers failed to run a background check that would have revealed that Dahmer's a sex offender, and they would have known right away, probably saving a bunch of lives. But, being afraid of dicks trumps that.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of Dumas. I mean, quite a bit. Yeah. As far as this went on for so long, he did get a charge, but they were like, yeah, you're good. 5 years probation.
Yeah. Fondling a kid.
We trust you.
We don't know that you killed a guy 9 years ago.
Right.
And he's scattered about your backyard. We don't know that. Nobody's checking his shit because, just get back inside, gay boy.
Right. They don't want to deal with it.
Right. So in 1991, Dahmer lured Tracy Edwards into his home with the promise of cash in exchange for his company. So another male prostitute. While inside, Edwards was then forced into the bedroom by Dahmer with a butcher knife. During the struggle, Edwards was able to get free and escape into the streets. So now we have a problem. We have a problem. Mm-hmm. We have someone that's IDing this man, someone who can run into the street and positively ID a sex offender that will immediately get picked up. So he's in a big pickle. Right? And then you like that? I'll do that every once in a while. When the police arrived at Dahmer's apartment, Edwards alerted them to the knife that was in the bedroom. Upon entering the bedroom, the officers found the pictures of the dead bodies, the dismembered limbs, that allowed them to finally place Dahmer under arrest because they didn't have any. Maybe they had suspicions, especially because the neighbors were smelling shit, right? And now that's all the string is put together on the board. Further investigation of the home led to find several heads in the refrigerator. 3 more severed heads throughout the apartment, multiple photographs of the victims, and more human remains in his refrigerator. A total of 7 skulls were found in his apartment, as well as a human heart in the freezer. That was for later. Yeah. For a snack. Yeah. And, Game of Thrones, when she's eating the horse heart, he's just watching like Jeopardy. Watching Jeopardy, like, screaming out, what is the Mount Rushmore? An altar was also constructed with candles and human skulls in his closet. So he was after being taken into custody, Dahmer confessed and began divulging the gruesome details of his crimes to the authorities. Dahmer was indicted on 15 murder charges, and the trial began on January 30th, 1992, right around the time that your people, right?
Yep.
That was unintentional. Even though the evidence against him was overwhelming, Dahmer pled insanity. Of course, I mean, you can do whatever you can.
Gotta throw a Hail Mary out there.
He also doesn't want to die in jail. He might die in jail, but he doesn't want to die in jail, right?
Right.
So the nature of his incredibly disturbing and uncontrollable impulses just threw that insanity into,
he thought, this is crazy. They're going to think I'm crazy is what he thought. Right.
Exactly. Right. I was trying to figure out how to put that. Right. Exactly. Thank you for that. So words are hard because of the absolute abstract. You can't even wrap your mind around this. They have more of a proclivity to give him the insanity plea, which is hard to get. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, probably more. Now,
right?
Like, now, bro, you ain't insane, bro. So 50 counts of murder, like I said, and then a total of 957 years in prison, which is what we talked about last couple weeks. It's a performative number.
Absolutely.
It's a number that doesn't make any sense. It's a number that no one's going to live to. It's a number that is just to shock. And to be like, we see you, we can't kill him 10 times, but we can give him this many years. It's performative. It's symbolic, which I hate. Anything after 3 consecutive life sentences, you die tomorrow in my America.
Well, I mean, if they're going to do that, and I mean, this was it was in Wisconsin that they found him?
Good question. Was it Wisconsin or was it Ohio?
It might have been. No, he moved to Wisconsin, but I don't know where he was at this point. My whole thing is, I mean, if it was a death penalty state, why not? I mean, if you're going to give him that much time as a show, and so he'll never come out. It just doesn't make sense as to why not the death penalty. But if it's not the death penalty, I mean, you want to make sure that there's no reason for parole. That last sentence said he had pled guilty to his first murder of the Stephen Hicks. Why even say anything at that moment? Did he want the recognition?
They always do.
I mean, I think he was very proud of it. It seemed.
I mean, he was more meticulous.
Nobody knew he did that. I mean,
he was more meticulous than anyone else. Like he put more work into it than anybody else.
Right. He probably was like, listen, yeah, I did that.
If I'm gonna go down,
remember that kid, Stephen Hicks in Ohio? That was me.
I'm precise.
That was all the way back in 78.
I'm a motherfucking surgeon with these, okay? Like, give me.
That was my very first one, and you still didn't even know unless I told you.
Y'all ever seen somebody fuck a dead body?
Right.
Watch. Yeah, stay tuned so you can, fuck a dead body. And here he is. He changed a bit.
Well, I know
the way I remember him.
I know Rose and I always are like, it's in the eyes, and I can tell you it is. I mean, he doesn't.
Oh my God! Look at this one, Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department.
Oh, so yeah, it was.
Fruit.
But I mean, it is in the eyes. You can kind of tell. There's that vacantness, and maybe it's not their actual eyes, but there's nothing behind them. If that makes any sense.
87, Dahmer at the time still residing with his grandmother encountered a 25-year-old man in Michigan named Stephen Tuomi. Right, so that's the Stephen Tuomi guy, and then the Hicks guy, and then we had the Tracy guy.
Right, and many more unnamed.
14 more. Right, exactly. And like hitchhikers and people that like, please don't leave me.
Right, people that within this series throughout the month of May, I think we're going to find that serial killers do target sex workers because people don't miss them as much. You know what I mean? People do miss them, but it's not a lot of times they're doing sex work because they've run away from home or whatever it may be. And many serial killers target sex workers. So
I love Target. It's one of my favorite. I know you like it too. Would you like to hear something crazy?
Yes, always.
Let's see if I can do it here. So check this out. Can I do this here?
All right, last time you did this and we couldn't hear it. So
I want to make sure. I want to see if I fix that. Can you hear that?
Hi.
I heard that. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Check it out.
Well, I did hear it. I'm not hearing it now.
You're not?
Nope. I heard it for a minute.
Can you hear this?
Nope. I don't know why I could hear it and then I couldn't. Weird.
So weird. I want you to hear it so badly.
I want to hear it so badly.
Well,
no, nothing.
I'll send it to you so you can listen to books in my. I know your ultimate goal is to have me narrate your life, and
absolutely.
That's why I did this.
Yeah. Okay.
It's basically this, but never tired, never stopping.
Words aren't hard.
Words aren't hard. Words are already synthesized. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is get I'd like to get your voice down, so then we can,
right.
Words won't be hard anymore. Will they?
No. I mean, words are hard when I think them. When they go from my brain to my mouth, for some reason it doesn't compute sometimes.
Exactly. So I know. And last week with Rose, that happened to me. I was like, oh, I channeled.
It's because I wasn't there.
I know. Somebody has to fuck up. It can't
right?
Just be. It's not because of the person. It's because of the show. So, all right. Well, there's Jeffrey Dahmer. Went really generic, kind of.
Well, no, I mean,
low hanging fruit.
It's kind of nice though, because honestly, we were young when all this was going on. I mean, 11 or 12 when all of this happened, when they caught him and all. And I remember making jokes about Dahmer and having bodies under his bed and shit like that, but I never really knew. And then, you know what I mean? My brain just didn't comprehend any of it because I was young. I was innocent. You know what I mean? But and I haven't watched the documentary. I've not watched the movie or anything, but I mean, I knew about it, but it was nice to actually kind of go through it and now know the nitty gritty of the timelines and things that happened,
Okay. See,
I find that things from like back in, when I was in my, from 10 to even 20, if things happen, I was aware that they happened, but I didn't know the specifics and the details because I didn't care, at that point.
Right. I mean, yeah,
it's not something a 12-year-old thinks about.
Unless
they're Dahmer.
Your 9-year-old just like,
or Dupas or who, right. All of these folks, but normal everyday folks that don't have serial killer tendencies.
How much time do we have?
We're about an hour and 10 minutes in. So
okay, all right. Well, here's a little bit about him in jail, because I don't think he was a normal ass.
He wasn't like a model citizen like Dupas was.
So he can get out. He's just like, please let me out. I'm the best. I'll clean all the whatevers. So in 92, Dahmer arrived in the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. So you're right. He got arrested in Wisconsin.
I used my noggin on that one.
Thoughts ain't hard.
No.
Due to his notoriety, obviously, like the biggest thing in the country was like a sensation. The egregious nature of his crimes had drawn worldwide attention. Prison officials felt it was safer to keep Dahmer away from the general population, which we call Gen Pop.
Yep.
Thank you. Rather than risk another inmate trying to make a name for himself by attacking the famous serial killer. In protective custody, Dahmer was isolated from the prisoners, and he had to be shackled when he wasn't in his cell. Dahmer didn't cause any big waves his first year in prison, but so he requested more freedom, more movement, more interaction with other inmates, and prison officials listened. You're like, okay, which I wouldn't be, but Dahmer, yeah.
Based on why he's there,
no,
whole jail full of male population may not be where you want him to be.
On a whim, the man figured out how to dissolve a person. And,
right.
So let's shut call it.
At 18 years old, hey, Mr. R. Hey, May. We've not been getting to the comments as much. We can kind of get into that. No, it's okay. So kind of going back to the beginning of this, I am Dave says, technically I like grapes. Oh, wait, hold on. You're just doing that roses are red thing where you don't actually say the word. Never mind. I don't like that. So he was joking.
I don't know.
May said she's been following the Married Couple podcast. 3 years seems longer. Just notified on Facebook about this. Well, we've been doing this for about a year now. And then
can you hear me
he
now?
said, can you hear this now? Verizon Wireless. And then Mr. R just checked in saying, hi guys. Hey, Mr. R. Thanks for joining us. This is our month of May in honor of Masturbation Month, Killer Kinks and Cocktails. So we are starting it off with some goodies.
In honor of that, we have Sam's story, which was unbelievable. Sex lies and videotape, or sex lies and beepers.
Yes.
And here we have grapes, necrophilia, homosexual eroticism, autoerotic asphyxiation, and zombies, lobotomies,
like scientific experiments. I mean,
he's like to experiment.
He likes to experiment.
I experiment with stuff. I just want to go down to the gay club, pick some guys up, and experiment.
Just want to see if I can make you a zombie.
What's the big deal? Lobotomize yourself. Stop lobotomizing yourself. Stop lobotomizing yourself. Stop lobotomizing yourself. So Dahmer had a religious calling. And he was baptized.
They all find Jesus in prison.
So Dahmer spent time behind bars, and he spent religious study time there. So he's like, fuck it, I might as well find God. His father, a born-again Christian, had sent him some materials, and the prisoners had followed Bible correspondence. It's something to do, right? In the spring of 94, Dahmer expressed interest in conversion. So Roy Ratcliffe, a Church of Christ minister, to him, he agreed to help him and baptize him. So in 94, Robed Dahmer, another name for a man, was submerged in a whirlpool bath in the prison and baptized by Ratcliffe in Wisconsin. And the time of his religious conversion, many questioned Dahmer's sincerity, as he's a skilled manipulator, clearly, who'd used his intelligence to get away with crimes in the past. Clearly, he got moved to a better gen pop, right? He's like, I want more stuff.
I found Jesus.
I'm cool. I ain't eating nobody. And it was like, come on, right? So Dahmer was committed enough to meet the pastor who'd baptized him for a weekly Bible study session. And they got last got together 5 days prior to Dahmer's death. During this meeting, they discussed the book of Revelation, whose subjects included death, punishment for sins, and damnation. At a chapel service in 94, another prisoner tried to slash Dahmer's throat, but the blade of the homemade weapon broke off. God damn it. That's what happens when you fashion it from toothbrush. But the blade, right, it didn't work. And I see a word I know. Dahmer offered an explanation that his attacker, a Cuban, had been trying to do something to get deported home. What? Oh. Why would you get deported home? You're going to be in jail, but in Cuba. It's way worse. So he wanted to get deported home, and this prompted the prison to label the attack as an isolated incident. So officials therefore decided their famous prisoner could return to live amongst the general population. Bad fucking news. Right. And then ultimately, spoiler alert, Dahmer's no longer with us. Okay. Dahmer was murdered. I remember this.
I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
So Dahmer was murdered, or I'm sorry, smurdered, while cleaning.
YouTube has a problem with it. I think it's other platforms.
Murdered. So in November 20th of 94, Dahmer was cleaning 11/28/94.
That's 2 days.
Go to the casino.
That was 2 days before I turned 15. Yes.
What a time to be alive. And the prisoner, so he'd begun 3 weeks earlier cleaning duty. So he was a cleaner now. So he was like, you know what? I found God. I ain't eating nobody. I ain't fucking I ain't eating nobody's testicles. Right. I've got.
I ain't saving them for later to
cold turkey.
Bad things. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine like he's eating a sack of ball, like a ball sack, and he's like, I'm going to save this for later, like wrapping it up in foil. You know, like I'm going to save this for later.
Yeah, probably.
I can't. I couldn't eat another nut. You know, I couldn't possibly
have one more nut.
God, I've had so many balls already. I can't possibly swallow another nut. So he had cleaning duty in '94, and he'd begun 3 weeks earlier in the prison's gym bathrooms with 2 other inmates, Jesse Anderson and Christopher Scarver. Heroes in my book. The 3 were left alone for 20 minutes. That's all they need. When guards returned, they found the bludgeoned body of Dahmer and Anderson, who'd been beaten by Scarver. So it wasn't a planned thing, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hold on. So, hi, guys. Why are we talking about Dahmer and masturbation? Because
it's May.
It's May. It's your name.
Mm-hmm. May is masturbation.
May is masturbation.
Sorry, I said nut.
May is masturbation.
I read Mr. R's last word and I don't fucking know. Words are hard.
You did this, May. I didn't want to make the correlation between the month of May and you, May. Okay, so you might as well be Betty for this one because.
Also, Mr. R says sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts.
Yeah, it's like mounds don't. But he's eating mounds of balls. He's eating a ball sack. He had several different nut sacks. Right. And then he couldn't, he just engorged himself. And he had a human heart. If you weren't here for that, guys. He had a human heart in there. He had 7 skulls.
Yeah. He was going to, roast it nicely, I think.
I mean, we're going to roast the bones with a mirepoix. And they make it, we braise it. How do you say, with a nice Bordeaux? So this guy, Christopher Scarver, went to town on Jesse Anderson and Dahmer. And Dahmer was pronounced dead an hour later after that altercation. Anderson also ended up dying from the attack. So this guy Scarver just like fuck it. In 2015, and then now he's famous, right? So what they were trying to avoid the whole time is the guy being famous for killing the most famous serial killer. So he'd been beaten to death, and Scarver stated that he abhorred. That's quite a word for a prisoner. Abhorred Dahmer, and raised the question of whether prison personnel who'd been aware of this had left him alone on purpose.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, he found God. He wasn't eating no nuts. He didn't have no hearts. He didn't have no skulls. He wasn't drinking the blood of his enemies from the skulls. He wasn't like, there was.
Yeah, but
so why kill him now? He's benign, right?
But is he? I mean.
But is he?
Okay. Okay. Devil's advocate, or given the chance. I mean, granted. This was only a couple of years into him being into jail, right?
Yeah.
He did not make it long.
But people knew that
he found God immediately. He's like, "Oh, I'm saved. This is the way, the truth, and the light. I've got to, find God to make my repentance." But really, was he? Did he repent? Or regardless, did he feel that he had did he do that just as a let me get by and get into Gen Pop? And how long would that have lasted?
Did I do that?
Now, again, we never know, but we would never know because he was, beaten to death. But who knows how long it would have taken him to go, fuck this shit. I still have urges. I want to, but I have a whole population here.
He didn't have drugs, and his main thing was drugs. Like, how are you going to take down a grown man? He didn't.
You're saying there's no drugs in prisons in 1994?
I'm so sorry. I'm so stupid. You're right.
You're saying somebody as smart as Dahmer, who was very smart in his own right, couldn't get a hold of drugs.
I'm looking for a very specific. I wonder if he was like gay.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing any.
Tyrone, I'm looking for something very specific. I'm looking for something that's going to knock somebody out, but like really good. So much so I can remove their head from their shoulders and eat it. Like, what?
One would think he wouldn't say. He might be like, "Oh, I used to do drugs too. I want some for myself." And then,
yes, of course,
drug is selly.
Do you have any head remover? So in a 2015 interview, Scarver, which was still alive, stated that he abhorred Dahmer. Once again, raised the question whether the prison personnel, this is important, who've been aware of this, had left him alone on purpose. Why do I say that again? Because it's a segue. Bless you. At his sentencing in 92, Dahmer had said, "I never wanted freedom. Frankly, I wanted death for myself," end quote. He later told his pastor, "I think I should have been put to death by the state for what I did." So he kind of almost had a death wish.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin had no death penalty, so no capital punishment was never an option. So that was the issue. If he would have gotten trapped up in Ohio, they would have decapitated him in 48 hours. And Dahmer's willingness to join the general prison population made some of those who thought that was a weird, deliberate kind of a thing. Like, why would you want to go there knowing that you're one of the most sought after marks that in prison? I mean, you immediately jump 100 million points and you win the game if you kill Dahmer in prison, right?
Right.
Because imagine that. It's like, I'm in forever.
High fives all around.
I'm the guy. Yep, your Sally did it. Your Sally killed him. So, so was it deliberate? And then he said, after the fatal attack, his attorney, Gerald Boyle, said that Dahmer, quote, had a death wish, and I know that he didn't have the gumption to do it himself. So it was almost like suicide by cop,
right. Yeah,
absolutely. I know it's going to happen. It's out of my hands, but I'm going to pull the trigger as far as putting myself in danger. And so the lawyer predicted that he would one day come when he would be killed in prison. One day would come when he would be killed in prison.
Right.
So, and I think everybody thought that too, because, it's so heinous. He was a PDF file. He was a cannibal. He was a necrophiliac. Right. It was everything. He was like,
that's shit that doesn't fly in prison.
Bro.
I mean, it absolutely is,
With this motherfucker, Mercury was in Gatorade. Like, it was like lined up. Like,
right.
It was lined up. And yeah.
And they were right to keep him isolated, I believe. You know what I mean?
Because masturbation is all month long.
Yes.
May freely, everyone, not just May, it's weird. Everyone freely masturbate. It's the month up. It's the month up.
It is where we bring awareness to.
Ladies, get your GJ skills up. It's time to scratch. So, so that is the story of Jeffrey Dahmer from the beginning all the way till he was killed in prison by Scarver. And, I hope he's burning in hell with Elvis and, fucking.
If you believe in all that, yeah.
If you believe in that, then yeah.
So International Masturbation Month is the month of May. International Masturbation Day is May 28th.
It's gonna be May.
So the month of May is celebrated as International Masturbation Month in the United States as national. It started in the United States as National Masturbation Month, an annual event held to protect and celebrate the right to
the
masturbate.
Sacred ritual of masturbation.
The right to masturbate.
Single-handedly propping up Kleenex. Whatever lotion you like, and cucumbers. Cucumber farmers rejoice in the month of May.
Zucchini.
Right, zucchini. I mean, squash if you're trying
if
to
you're
get that special part. A yellow squash if you're really trying to. Get up in the
Yeah.
And gentlemen, please, now that we're talking about this, find out what I just talked about, and find that place.
Absolutely.
Another thing will happen. Something different than what you think is happening will happen. So let's look it up. So is it Masturbation Month?
Yep.
Masturbation.
I just looked it up.
Yeah, I want to see. What the kind of materials they have. Let's see what kind of marketing they put into this. International Masturbation Month. The New York Post. Oh, they're going to be like, meh. So the New York Post, barely a news outlet. Let's see. They're going to look upon it with disdain, where everyone should be freely whacking it. These people are going to be like, "Don't touch yourself." May was designated as a season of self-gratification. I love that fucking term, self-grat.
Oh, the first National Masturbation Day was held on May 7th of 1995.
What do you do then? Does everybody just get together and like? All right.
I don't know.
It's weird.
After a sex-positive retailer, Good Vibrations declared the day in honor of the Surgeon General Jocelyn Elders, who was fired by President Bill Clinton in 1994 for suggesting masturbation be a part of sex education curriculum for students. Later, it became known as International Masturbation Day, and in 2023, in honor of Magic Wand's 55th anniversary, and in conjunction with Masturbation May, the True Magic Wand was started on May 20th. So
everybody give it up for Dr. Jocelyn Elders one time, and then of course,
be honest, yes, I mean,
and Erica Lust, who really helped us out there, you know.
I mean, as a young person who grew up in a parochial Christian school through 8th grade and even high school, that's not something. I mean, it was a sin. You know, you couldn't do it. Shouldn't do it, huh?
When's your birthday?
December 1st.
Right, of course it is.
But
keep going down here.
But it was not. That wasn't a thing, you know, or I thought it was bad, and it's not something that they said was a natural thing, even in high school. And I went to a public high school, so I mean,
it wasn't a thing for me. Oh, we're looking at toys now. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, there's a toy. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, that's your birth one. Got that good toy. Scorpio, and then November, and then we're here at Sagittarius, correct?
Yep.
That's what you are.
That's what I am.
Let me read yours, and you can read mine. Fire sign for a reason. Sagittarius loves to challenge their boundaries and explore. Masturbation May is the month for exploring. Lust explains. This is an article, obviously. This is a horoscope done by a porn star, which
nice.
Makes all this sense in the world because they're clairvoyant. So try elevating your masturbation routine by popping in a butt plug, it says. Sagittarius. Try this on your own before introducing this to a partner because it could be scary and they can divorce you in a moment's notice. So you can get comfortable with acquaintance. Like,
I read on my horoscope. I got to try this.
Honey, why are you showing me a lava lamp? Try this on your own before introducing it to a partner so you can get comfortable and acquainted. And because acquainted and comfortable is a proper term because you're going to have to make some room. And it's an incredible feeling. Just pop one in, it says. She says, just pop one in.
Just pop one in.
Her ass is good. Right.
Yeah.
So she's good. My virgin asshole will not pop one in. All right. And then it's going to be January. It's going to be Jan. Aquarius. Look at this medieval piece of art. Gay. All right. So make like the ancients and take part in a community pleasure, which means have an orgy.
Oh, wow.
Heard that. Okay. Thank you. So apropos of the Aquarius being the sign of community and common cause, Lust recommends, she's an authority on masturbation. Lust recommends group masturbation. So I am orgy month.
Yeah, there you go.
So while this sounds scary, and it 100% is.
I mean,
I'm sorry. You read this.
No, no, it's fine. I just have questions.
No, but I don't want to read it.
Well, put it up on the screen so I can read it, or give me a link.
I will put it up on the screen for you. It's here. I don't want to read this anymore. It's weird to read my own sexy horoscope.
Okay, so
hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Me I go do it for you. Where the fuck is it? Oh, there it is. There it is. Hold on. And
I see nothing. I see pictures.
I know. I'm finding it. It's coming.
Oh, that's what she said.
It's coming. Right. It's going to be all innuendo all month long. Stay tuned.
Oh, good Lord.
It's got to be up here. Here it is, Aquarius. And then, right, there it is.
Just a touch bigger because my eyes are old.
Here, underneath these weird furries.
No, it's Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
It's above it, I thought.
Above Pisces. Okay. So we're going all the way. When does it start? Is my question. Okay, February. Okay. There we go. Apropos.
Yeah. So it's So while it sounds scary, it's incredibly hot. You can observe the room and take note of what people enjoy. Give your Tinder dates a time and a place and go for it. Or if you are partnered, maybe bring another couple in. Sorry, that's just not for me. See how spicy a group masturbation sesh can be.
Wait a minute. What's not for you? 6 people in a circle?
Well, why would I want to do that?
See you comes first. It's a game.
To me, that's just not for me. It may be for you, but it's not for me.
I didn't say it was for me either. I'm just saying it's a thing, and
it is a thing. I'm not okay. Again, not kink shaming or any whatever floats your boat. But that is not a thing that I think I would.
The question is, do you want to play toast? That's it. Anybody who doesn't know too?
What is the horoscope for May? Sorry, Gemini.
When was May born?
Okay. No, not May, the person. What?
I want to know May, the person.
Gemini.
Okay.
If you can find it.
Gemini. Pisces. Well, we might as well do Pisces. There are Pisces out there, I promise.
Yeah.
Lust recommends, the porn star, Pisces, people dip a toe or a fin, as it were, into a sex party. Ooh. This bitch is freaky. Imaginative and intuitive are 2 words that sum up a Pisces. 2 trails that work hand in hand in an orgy.
Right.
Hand in hand. Thank you. Right. This month, maybe attend a sex party. Maybe find a sex party. First of all, find one.
And then you don't have to participate. You can just watch.
Oh, great. Cuff yourself into the corner. If you don't have the balls to stroke your shit, go into the corner and just look weird. Using these 2 skills, a Pisces can use their imagination, but keep an eye on the other person to ensure that they're feeling the pleasure too. Bottom line, each person should fit in and partake perfectly and respectfully. Okay, perfectly, respectfully, and with what do you call that? When they let you do it.
Consent.
Consent. That's it. I consent for you to put a butt plug in me.
If you're feeling nervous, take someone with you. It could be a partner, a friend, or a new love interest.
We started dating 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna be like,
hey, guess what? Well, let's go to an orgy because this is the month to do it.
So we've been to sushi, coffee, and then we did Italian. This week,
orgy?
Sex party. Yeah, right, exactly. I found one. So yeah, feeling nervous? Take somebody. Easy. Let's go to Gemini.
Yes, let's look at Gemini.
Oh, now it's cards. I think it's over. We have to go back.
Back the other way. I bet it starts with well, maybe not Gemini.
Gonna be May.
All right. I bet that's where it's.
I'm gonna say it so fucking much. I'm gonna say that so much. I don't mind the butt plugs in the. Look at that! How wet it is. That's how fucking. That's baby oil. That's not water. It has to be. It has to be. It has to be. Hello, love. Hey, my mom.
Oh, geez.
My mom's sex horoscope.
Let's just no.
Libra. As the symbol suggests, Libra loves balance. Therefore, you nuts.
Oh, jeez.
Fondle some nuts this month. Honing in your harmonious energy, connect at a deeper level. Bottom line is sexually and emotionally, the rituals are simple. Immerse yourself in self-pleasure. Okay.
Okay.
Do a recording of yourself. See how hot you look. So that's
yeah. There we go.
Okay, Mom. Make sure to do that recording of yourself.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry. Leo. Cancer. Anybody know what Cancer?
All right.
Gemini.
That's got to be Gemini.
There we go. So that's Taurus. This is Gemini here.
Right.
Just above Cancer. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
So it says we all know that if they could a Gemini would clone themselves. They aren't enough. There aren't enough hours in the day, right? But many bodies can become one in another way. While defying traditional romantic relationships doesn't come without a few challenges. Solo, partnered, and 3-way sex, along with masturbation, can be seductive, romantic, and steamy hot. Her tip, if you're going to partake in a threesome, have a conversation about what you do and don't like first.
My God.
The more the merrier when it comes to Gemini is what it says.
Fuck it. I have to do this because it's our only. I mean, I wanted to do this with Rose, and I will. I don't think she's going to see this part for whatever reason, but I want to end it with this. So, is it time to end it?
We're close. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're close.
we're edging to it.
Edging. We're getting to the edging of closeness. Everything is going to be so sexually charged.
Oh my gosh, Mama Bear's checking in.
Mama Bear, what's up?
Hey, seeing y'all on when I was going to bed and wanted to pop in and say, hey, Mama Bear, we've been talking to you. Thank you for popping in.
Yeah, before you go to bed, you should probably stick around for a second.
Yeah, our Mama Bear, month of May is Masturbation Month, and we're doing killer kinks and cocktails. And right now we're just kind of going down a fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did a sexy horoscope brought to you by Erica Lust, who's a porn star that apparently is the arbiter of masturbation.
Yes.
Oh, exactly. That's a moan. Yeah, that's a moan. Everything is sex. That's right. So, okay, so check this out, guys. I did this on my podcast a couple years ago, and I've been meaning to check the state of these.
Also, she said, by the way, my account got hacked. My new account is Mama Bear Part 2. Perfect. I will go follow it.
Yeah, if you could post a link here, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Post a link in the chat, and that way we can do that. Okay. So this is something that I check on every couple of years to see the state of this.
The new bots.
You got to stay on top of it. I don't want one, but I need to know how close we are to Jude Law. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
AI. I gotta know because Jude Law was cool as shit. If they make Jude Law, nobody's ever having sex again.
SamIAm Dave says, I can't wait for my episode. We cannot wait either. It'll be fun.
What's your episode?
He'll be on when we do the OnlyFans murders that he found for us last time, and that'll probably be the 23rd because his birthday is the 21st of this month. So
for his birthday, we're gonna give him some sexy talk.
Yes.
All right. So these are called real dolls. This is the first link hit, right? But these are masturbatory dolls.
Right.
One's named Peach, right? She has a C cup, and it's kissable full silicone. Would you like to take a deeper dive into what these fucking things look like and how much they are? $2,000.
I mean, that's actually less than I thought they would be.
Oh no, there are more expensive ones.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen?
What does it do? What does it do for?
Have you seen like the men that like have these dolls that think they're married to them and all the things? Maybe we should do a story.
What do you mean think? Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh yeah, that was on my list for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But crime, we have to find like a sex doll crime.
Right? I know. Well, I mean, there's been plenty of times where a sex doll's been thrown out after being used and thought it was an actual body, but I don't know.
Our quality control. Can you imagine being quality control for these things? What are you doing all day? Are you just coming in it?
One would think not.
How well?
One would hope not.
This one has the best cum gutters. You can get rid of all the exit, right?
This one self cleans.
Well, right, exactly.
Just like a real human.
Right, like a dishwasher. Like a fucking dishwasher.
Or an oven.
Right, exactly. Put it on self-cleaning. Man, holy shit. But the thing is, you have to pose them, right?
Right. I mean, these aren't ones that are like robots. These are just the dolls that you have to move, right?
Sweetheart, there are no robots.
Huh?
It's like, these aren't robots. Just so you know, these aren't walking autonomous robots.
Well, no, but don't they have those too, or are they working on them?
We will. Yeah. So $5,000 sex bot.
Do these actually make sounds? Mama Bear goes, I can't with y'all.
You know, like
buffering.
Buffering. Please connect to Wi-Fi. Sex doll. It's gonna go sex doll.
Sorry. I made myself laugh on that one. Way too hard.
Okay, here we go. So luxury dolls, the most expensive dolls in the market.
Oh Lord.
The invention of sex dolls has given us a new perspective on intimacy. How much you want to make a bet we're going to be doing a fucking a story about like a sex doll murder, like, you know, somebody was like
right,
right?
where they become sentient.
It's gonna be I loved her. You know, it makes up this thing in his mind that he's like a whole narrative, like a you know, true crime drama.
My best friend was coming on to my sex doll and I had to kill him. Yeah. I bet that is a thing. I mean, or it will be.
Don't you make eyes at Molly. So here are the best ones, right? So real dolls, AI-driven X series. What the fuck?
Again, they're going to become sentient, and that's where it's going to happen.
Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. What are you talking about? We're talking about Willis. Real dolls, AI-driven X series. What does that do? How is it AI-driven to what? $16,000?
Yeah, that's what I was like. I think a couple thousand is.
First on the list is okay. So first on the list is Real Dolls X series. So here it is, which allows your facial expressions, dialogue ability. It can set you back between 7 Gs and about 17 Gs. In seconds, it's Sino doll, more personalization. What do you mean? I want to see.
All right. First off, Mama Ira goes, Wi-Fi connection is understandable. Bot moan.
I'm coming.
SamIAm Dave says, those robots have an OnlyFans? Hold on. Or do those robots have an OnlyFans? Hang on. I'll check.
What's her at? What's her at? Yeah, I want to know this. Brand. So these are the important things that, you know, let's really get down to this, everybody. Brand, material.
You can pay up to $50,000 or more for a fucking doll.
Yeah. Look.
Jesus.
Look at her. Look how real she looks.
She does not look real.
$50,000 for the
she looks like that Megan fucking show movie.
One huge tit and like fucking fish you know, flippers,
like crazy toes.
Special characteristics. Okay, so sex dolls are one of a kind. No, they're not. When it comes to luxury sex dolls,
when it comes to luxury ones, they probably form the fucking vag to fit the penis. You send in a fucking, you put your
like a Ferrari.
Dong, well, yeah, you put your little your dong in a fucking mold, and they're like, okay, we'll modify that vag to fit it perfectly.
That's incredible you say that. No, it's incredible. It's like, so my thing, people know this. My friends knew, like, I was talking about this many, many years ago. I always thought that it was going to be called the I suck. And then it was like a gel. Imagine like a gel, like, like thing, right? And you just put your junk in there. And then you pay for like, I don't know.
Well, no. Okay.
Jenna Jameson's twat, and you pay for it, and then it forms into Jenna Jameson's twat, and then you fuck that.
Hold on. Was it China or Japan that has these things to help men? Hold on, I'll find it.
God, what is this?
I did a story on this.
Look at this dead-eye doll. Oh God, this is not a luxury anything. What a dead-eye doll. Are you kidding me? Medical grade silicone. Oh God. Articulated fingers and toes. So what? It can grab your shaft, but you have to move it. Realistic hand-foot motions. Who wants foot motions? Realistic, okay. Built-in AI system, but what does it do?
I apologize.
What? What are you looking for?
I will show you.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we were talking about. Let me. I'll let you come back to this, but
no, I don't. I'm good. We looked at it.
I did a news story about this. It's called the sperm extractor, and it replicates the human vagina for donors who are donating their sperm. This is just found on YouTube. So
I thought it was. I remember this now, but immediately when you said that, I was like, people who are donating their vaginas.
No, but kind of what you said. They kind of dial it in, and there you go. That helps you out.
Yeah, it milks you dry.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Look at that. They were like, you know what it has to do, right? It has to go move up and down. It's got to clinch. You know, it's got to clinch.
It's got to do all the things.
It's got to buck its hips.
It has, in terms of temperature, wetness, and light, this device also has adjustable height and speed and force.
Oh, that wasn't a second one.
Could you imagine going, okay, I got to donate sperm, and then boop, boop. Okay, as a man, don't you think you'd be there like all the time? They'd be like, "You've donated too much."
It's like you have your dick out like in this thing, and you're trying to pay with your Apple Pay.
Yeah,
you know, like,
you've been here way too much. Also, SamIAm Dave says that 16,000 one better have Bluetooth and be able to drive me to work.
Better fucking make me a sandwich.
Also anal, but that should be obvious.
Oh, yeah. Anal. I think it's going to be jam a butt plug in that thing, you know? And, you know what I'm going to, so don't tell Rose.
Okay.
But I want to visit these things again.
Oh, absolutely.
Blow her mind.
And I'll bring the other thing up too, because that's hilarious.
And a tremor, or like a motor buddy.
Yeah.
Which, you know what that is? It's like it's like a Sibian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, so, what do you do with that? I don't know, Rose. You sit on it. It's a what for?
Yeah, we should do that with her on here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We need to pop the cherry.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a little bit more investigation on this, and we're gonna take her down Jizz Lane.
Oh my gosh, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed learning more about Jeffrey Dahmer and kind of taking that deep dive into the other story that I did, and going down other roads.
I want to leave you with a question.
Yes.
Do you think that Jeffrey Dahmer would have done the things that he did if there was a working, functional Jude Law bot?
Probably.
I guess we're gonna hello. It's like dancing in the rain, you know. What size would you like my mechanical penis? People would have lived.
No, I don't. Here's why I think he did. I think he wanted the control more so, over an actual sentient being. You know what I mean? If
lobotomy.
Yeah, I mean he wanted to make that person more like a robot rather than having a robot be more like a person. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So I do believe it would have happened. Do I think it would have happened as prolifically? I think they would have probably caught him a little earlier had it been now. To be honest.
Whoa, this one has a fat ass. Damn. All right, I gotta go.
Also, I and Dave said, Will said this is really hot, but you should hurry up and come out to the campground.
He's always cutting it short. Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, seriously, I really think that again, in the lines of Dupas and now Dahmer that we're thinking of, and even I'm not sure if Bob Fratta would have killed his wife in this. I mean, he probably would have, but
and then I'm gonna have a really poignant question because of this.
Sure.
To ask Rose, because I want to completely wipe her mind. She's gonna be like, what? I'm gonna ask her if PDF files should have access to dolls that are children.
Oh, that's a good question.
And go either way.
Right.
You're either perpetuating it or you're stopping the.
Yeah.
Again,
in my reasoning again with Dahmer, I don't think it's. I mean, obviously, it's the fantasy of it, but I think it's
also the physical.
It is the physical of the human. It's the human aspect of it. It is what I was trying to say. It's the human aspect of it, and if it is, you'd
be surprised what you can get away with artificially. But who knows? It's trial and error. You have to put a sex doll, one day you're gonna put Haley Joel Osment and put him in a PDF file. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and in this respect, I mean, in that respect, if someone raises their hand, hey, this is what my proclivity is. This is what gets me off. Then then you give them a bot or a doll, and you go, okay, here you go. But then you lock that person away. Give them everything, I guess, that they, that they need, food and whatever. But
if they're locked away, they don't need to, right? Because we locked them away. But your day to day, so you don't stray and get a human.
I don't think that would.
Because then you have to say you have to confess, and you have to admit that it's something that's not fixable. So people that want to fix it,
I don't think any of them really want to fix it.
We'll give you treatment until you come out of that. I don't believe that you can come out of that. That's just something that you want. You can suppress it all you want. Some people are better at it than others, but the ones that are not good at it, we're assuming that they can get better when they can. And then would this bot be something that, and how lifelike is it? Who makes that shit? Who has to fucking make that shit in a factory and play with it and make sure it works? I mean,
yeah, that. I mean, again, I think that, I mean, it is a very poignant question, but in that respect, if somebody raises their hand and says, this can't be fixed, I also think there should be, a place where they can live life, but away, and they can't get at actual children.
Well, I'll leave.
Like, live a good life, but you know what I mean. Don't make it like an internment camp or whatever, but have their own society where they have their own little bots and all the things. You know what I mean?
Left to their own devices.
Go into the store. The person working the grocery checkout is like, "Yep, I know why you're here."
Hey, Jim.
What's your bot's name? You know what I mean?
Billy.
What's your persuasion?
Yeah, Billy's a little Filipino boy. He's like,
what age range do you like?
Short round from Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I mean, again, not have a whole society, but don't get around, away from kids.
Let's put a pin in this and think about it nice and hard for a week, and let's not say anything that we won't.
Yeah, I know. My brain is now like,
yeah. So there's something for the audience, something for everybody to think about.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week with more sexual topics and innuendos.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping to find a story about like sextortion and all the things,
It's only week 1.
I know it is only week 1. So I think this was a great start. Thank you all for listening. AC, always fun to be on the show with you. Folks, come back next week. Hopefully Rose will be able to come back, and we will have more killer kinks and cocktails. We will see you next week if I can find the right video to go out on.
Pray for Rose's return so we can bust her cherry.
Yes, we need it. This whole month was designed to bust cherries.
Cherry busting.
All right, folks. See you next week.
I'm an enthusiast.